Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. This is our event vlog at Tweseldown in the Novice. We actually won this event. I was really surprised. It was such a hot day, right at the end of the day as well. I wasn't going cross country until about 7 p.m. And the course was really technical with a lot of step combinations, as you can see with the few cross country clips I got. But onto the dressage. So Ruffian and I scored a 31 in this dressage test, which I was happy with, bearing in mind you will see, again, we messed up one of our upwards transitions from walk to trot. He went on and did a walk to canter transition. So we lost a little bit of marks there, but overall I thought it was a really good test, especially in the heat. You'll notice I'm not riding in a jacket because it was ridiculously warm. The whole day was basically spent trying to keep ourselves nice and cool. But yes, our medium trot was quite nice. I think we scored a 7.5 for that. And then onto this 2-loop serpentine with an upwards transition to canter on X, and we actually scored an 8 because he did a really beautiful correct transition, which I was really happy about. I think the last time I ran through this test at a show, he actually kicked off on the wrong canter leg, so I was really happy with that. And then onto our median canters down the long side. Again, he stuck his quarters in a little bit, and I'm really working on that with him, but he stayed nice and relaxed. And then with our downwards transition, again, was nice and controlled. Sometimes he likes to rush it, and because he's got such a big trot movement, our first trot strides can sometimes look a little bit rushed. And then onto our walk, I actually believe we unluckily had a bit of a trip in this corner just before our free walk on a long rein. Yeah, there. So we lost a few marks there as well, I believe. And he's so funny in his walk. When he's collected, he walks really funny with his front legs. But the engine's still there and he's, walking through and stepping through nicely. But he does sometimes look a little bit extra. Our free walk on a long rein was good. He stretched lower than he usually does, so I was really happy with that. And again, just trying to keep him nice and relaxed before our supposedly trot transition upwards at C. However, he thought that was a canter transition, so we did lose marks there. And then onto our 2-loop serpentine with a canter transition at X. Again, he did that really nicely. And again, during these tests, you're marked on each individual movement, so if I've messed up, I do quite like to move on to the next movement and try and put that behind me so that the rest of the test is a little relaxed and I'm not stressed about it. And then after that canter, he then went to another medium trot, and I think at this point he was a bit hot and tired, and therefore didn't show that much of a difference in our working trot and our medium trot. And then just preparing for our final movement, which is turning left at E and then at X and then halting and saluting at G, which again, he came in nice and straight, however, wasn't quite square, but I was really happy with him, and yeah, we scored a 31. Right, and now on to show jumping, which I find the most stressful out of my whole event day. I just find it really costly when having a pole or two, but Ruff was jumping really careful for me, and he jumped a lovely round and we jumped clear. I was really happy with him. I don't think we got a iffy stride to anything. The round felt really quite comfortable and he jumped everything very happily. We got a nice 2 strides in this double, which he jumped really lovely and then landed on the correct leg. I loved the size of this arena. This gave me plenty of space to prepare for every fence individually and get a really good stride to every single one. We came to this upright on the wrong leg, but we jumped it on a little bit of an angle and he jumped it really careful for me, coming around to the final combination, which I always get a bit worried for, but I prepared him really nicely and he jumped in really great to the 1 stride and then to the 2 stride and an upright.
Through the water, up the step over the Great Wall of Tweseldown, then the factory, and kill the pillar tiger in it.
Right, and on to the cross country. Again, it was a really warm day, so I wasn't expecting much in terms of the time, But Ruff headed out that start box really nice and speedy, and he almost just had a second wind, and he really cracked on. I rode very confidently around this track because it had a few questions that I thought Ruff might have a look at, and therefore I rode just really confidently around the whole course, and I think that just encouraged him as well with the time. And in this combination, first combination on course, we actually got very close to the second part because he almost ate out the ground and took a stride out, and I thought, oh gosh, not this early on in the course, please. So he was quite strong actually. I before every fence I really had to give him quite a hard check, so he picked up his front legs. But here, jumping the ditch, you can see quite a big jump, and I thought maybe he would run out of that second combination just because he jumped the first part so large, but he popped over that really, really nicely, and over that hanging log spread, and over this trachena. Again, going into the sunset that it was this time of day, I thought he might have had a bit of a look at that trachena, but he jumped it as if it wasn't even there, so I was really happy with that. And then onto this quarry combination, again walking the course, I thought he might have a little look at the step down, but he jumped really confidently through all of it, and I got him quite nice and close to this hanging log on a bit of a hill because I didn't want him taking a stride out and possibly losing a leg coming to this skinnier log on the way out. It was labelled AB and an AB combination, however it rode like an ABC D combination, but he jumped through that owl hole really beautifully, and he jumped quite big off that step, and it was quite a large step. And then another step on course was this one coming up, and then I think it was about a 5 stride to this corner, and we got very, very deep and actually nearly had a bit of a oopsie moment, but luckily he landed on his front legs, and we got ourselves back for this larger table just before the water. And again, riding really confidently to the skinny just before the water, and then preparing ourselves for another step up out of the water to this brush fence, which again he rode really easy over that. And then onto our last few fences, which were quite large tables. Definitely had to respect them at the end of the course, especially with all the shadows on the ground, which made the ground line a little bit harder to see and concentrate on, but Ruff got a really good shot to all of them at the end and was flying through the finish, and we were inside the time and clear. But super proud of Ruffian, and thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for another YouTube video.